Life's not been the same for any of us since we've been put in this lockdown. I know that for myself, it's been nice in some ways, but one thing I haven't been doing, and that is traveling. Well, there we have a big conference, and there's a lot of miles, and I do end up on the road quite a bit. But for the last 4 or 5 weeks, I've pretty much not been anywhere. Now, that's not all bad. I don't love the driving, but I do miss the destinations. I miss being with congregations on Sabbath to worship with them. I miss being face-to-face with colleagues and being able to have conversations. I even miss being in meetings where we're trying to come up with solutions. But someday that'll all be back. But for now, I'm pretty much stuck here. I do remember recently being on one of my trips, and I got behind a dump truck. Now, you know how much you like that as they lumber along. Huge vehicles, and there on the back was a big orange sign that said, "Do not follow me into work area." As I thought of it, following him along, I thought, and why would I? A little while later, he did put his blinker on and pull off, and again I wondered, I have no business in there. They can do their work. I will keep going where I'm headed. As I drove along, those words just kind of kept coming back to me until I suddenly said, that is horrible advice for the Christian. Do not follow me into work area. Don't follow me into the places where there's things to be done. It's interesting that we call ourselves followers of Jesus. Those words sometimes carry with them quite an obligation, sometimes more than we'd even expect, because following Jesus sometimes takes you into some of the most difficult work areas, some of the places where you feel inadequate, where you feel that you are not equipped, where you feel that you have nothing to offer, where you feel like you're carrying a shovel and the big machines are doing all the work. God says, follow me, follow me, follow me. That's what the disciples did, and when they did, they ended up in places that they could never imagine. They ended up dealing with people who seemed like they had no cure to their life, and yet Jesus touched them and healed them. They found themselves on boats, fearing to be drowned in the sea, only to have Jesus calm the sea. They found out that following Jesus is not only exciting, it's amazingly safe, because he goes with us, but sometimes it's fearful. Because God sometimes pushes us beyond our ability. Sometimes he sends us into situations which are beyond what we ever thought we could do, and yet he tells us, follow me. Wow, I think of Moses. Moses, he didn't think he had any gifts, and God comes and says, I want you to lead my people out of Egypt. And Moses argued and said, there's no way I can do it. And God says, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And as he followed God, he did the unbelievable. Oh, sometimes the situations we face seem as overwhelming. Even now with this coronavirus, we hear the numbers, they're so big. Over 45,000 dead, hundreds of thousands infected. We hear of unemployment figures in the millions and millions, and it's easy to sit back and go, this is beyond my pay grade. Nothing I can do to help here. We'll let the big boys handle it. We'll let the government take care of everything. And Jesus just might be calling us and saying, follow me. There's people in need. Follow me. There is something you can do. No, it may not be that we can solve everything, but we can step into our moment in time in the place that God has put us and follow Jesus and make a difference in someone's life. But that takes a decision. You know, in the story of the talents, the parable Jesus told about giving people gifts and then them being sent out to use them, if you remember that story, there was only one person that Jesus was not pleased with. It was the one who did nothing. The one who did nothing. He wasn't comparing other people. He wasn't competing. He wasn't asking people to all do the same. He was just disappointed when someone did nothing. We need to find ourselves willing today to do something, whatever that might be. To quit making the excuses like Moses made, the excuses like I even felt following that dump truck going, there's nothing I can do. There's nobody that God can't use. You are not too old. You are not too young. You're not too poor. You are not ungifted. There is no excuse under heaven that God will accept as someone who cannot follow Him and make a difference in this world. So I challenge us. I challenge us not to be overwhelmed by the trouble around us, not to give up and throw up our hands and say, there's no way I can do anything, but to know that we can make a difference. Even on behalf of the mission of the church, we're told to go into all the world and preach the gospel. Talk about a daunting task that can make you say, nothing I can do, and yet Jesus says, yes, there is. Yes, there is. I have something for you to do where you are. And if you do it, the gospel will be spread. People will be helped. Problems will be solved. Lives will be changed. And so I urge you in this time, today, where we are, where you are, to accept the challenge to follow Jesus, to follow Him into the workplace, even when you feel inadequate, that you don't have anything to offer, that you will follow Him, that you'll listen to Him, that you'll accept His mercy and His grace, and you'll discover not only that you may help others, but you may be also the one who receives a blessing that you would have missed. Yes, Jesus does invite us to follow Him into the most difficult situations because He will never leave us or forsake us. His grace is always sufficient. His mercy is strong, and His patience is everlasting. And so you too can be a follower of Jesus. Don't be afraid. Accept the challenge. Dream. What can He have you do? It may only be a small amount for you, but it may make a difference in eternity. Just don't be someone who does nothing. Do something. Follow Him, and He will bless. God bless you. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. Be safe, and may we be followers of our Savior.